Guys, let me ask you something. Have you ever finished a poker session, looked back at your hands and thought, why did I even do that? You don't remember your thought process, you don't remember your opponent, you just remember clicking buttons. That's autopilot poker. And autopilot is one of the biggest silent killers of poker improvement. Today, we are going to break down what autopilot really is, why it happens, why it destroys your win rate, and most importantly, how to fix it. Okay, guys, let's go. So, autopilot is when you play hands without thinking. You recognize a situation that looks familiar, and you react automatically. You see a silhouette pot, a continuation bet pot, and you bet. Okay, you just simply bet. You see a draw, you call. You see aggression, you fold. But here's the problem. You are not making decisions, you are running patterns. You are playing with your subconscious mind, and you are not even thinking. Your brain is using shortcuts instead of analysis. And shortcuts are dangerous in poker, because poker is a game of constantly changing variables. Stack size changes, player tendencies changes, board texture changes, tournament dynamics also changes, okay? When you play autopilot poker, you ignore all of that. So autopilot doesn't happen because you are lazy, it happens because your brain is trying to save energy. That's very common. Poker is mentally exhausting, every hand requires evaluating position, stack depth, opponent tendencies, board texture, range advantage, bet sizing logic, future street planning. It's a massive cognitive workload every single day. So your brain tries to protect itself by saying, hey, we have seen this before, just do what we usually do. That's how habits form. And habits are powerful, but here's the dangerous part. Poker punishes automatic behavior, because the correct play is rarely about what usually works, it's about what works right now. Autopilot doesn't just lose money, it stops growth completely. Think about it. Improvements only happens when you notice decisions, question decisions, and when you analyze your decisions, okay? Autopilot removes all of these three. You stop asking, why am I betting? What worse hands call? What better hands falls? What is my opponent representing? Instead, you start to think, this is what I normally do, and that mindset locks you into your current skill level forever. Many players study poker for years, but never improve, because they study off the table and play autopilots on the table. Okay, guys, I hope this makes sense. So let's look at a common example. You raise pre-flop, for example, the big blind calls, and the flop comes king 7-2, rainbow. You continuation bet automatically. Why? Most players say because that's what you do as a pre-flop raiser. But that is just autopilot logic. A thinking player asks, does my range actually have advantage here? Is my opponent the type who folds too much? Do I want to bet small or large? What turn cards help me? What hands am I targeting? Sometimes correct play is betting, sometimes it's checking. Autopilot assumes one answer fits every situation. Okay? Poker rewards players who know every situation is unique, especially in tournaments. Here's one rule that can instantly improve your poker. If you don't know why you are betting, you shouldn't be betting, as I said before in the betting basics. Every action in poker must have a purpose. You are either betting for value, bluffing, denying equity, setting up future streets, okay? If you can clearly identify which one we are doing, you are guessing, and guessing consistently loses money in poker. Breaking autopilot isn't about playing slower. It's about adding one simple mental habit. Before every major decision, ask yourself 3 questions. First, what am I representing? What does my story look like to my opponent? Okay? Second, what worse hands continue? If worse hands never call, your value add is bad. And finally, what better hands falls? If better hands never falls, your bluff is bad as well. That's it. Those 3 questions force your brain back into analytical mode, Another powerful technique is narrating the ends in your head. Instead of silently clicking buttons, mentally say, I'm betting small because my range is stronger, I have few bluffs, and I want calls from middle pairs and draws, okay? If you can't finish that sentence, you probably shouldn't be betting. So here's the truth most players don't realize. The biggest edge in poker isn't strategy charts, it isn't silver knowledge, it isn't memorized ranges, it's intentional thinking. The player who consistently makes conscious decisions will always outgrow the player running habit. Autopilot creates comfort, intentional play creates skill, and skill compounds over time, okay? So next time you sit at the table, don't focus on winning pots, focus on understanding decisions, because every time you replace autopilot with awareness, you are not just playing poker, you are becoming dangerous at poker. Okay guys, see you in the next video.